So will American companies be able to do business in Cuba anytime soon? For that, we're joined once again by Jose Moya, a professor of Latin American history at Barnard College. Thank you very much for joining us again, Professor.
Thank you for the invitation.
So have American companies lost business opportunities in Cuba because of the embargo?
In the last 15 years, yes. Before that, the Cuban government wouldn't allow foreign investment. But we have to put this into perspective. They probably have lost some money from investing in hotels, tourism, maybe some pharmaceutical enterprises. But this is a small thing. They're already selling to Cuba about half $500 million a year in 2009. So they're selling what they can sell to Cuba. And I doubt that commerce with Cuba is going to increase much if the embargo is lifted. Commerce with Cuba actually declined $200 million last year, and nothing changed in American policy. It was simply that Cubans don't have the money to buy and are buying cheaper rice from Vietnam.
So this embargo is, as far as you're concerned, the economic embargo has been greatly exaggerated. It hasn't had any kind of impact on Cuba at all.
It's not that it hasn't had an impact on Cuba, but it's limited the impact on Cuba. Most of the Cuban economic problems are internal. It's not a particularly efficient economy. This was an economy that was the third richest in Latin America in 1960. Today is the 17th. It has very little to do with the embargo. But the cost to the Americans is not so much economic. The Americans export more to Canada in a single day than to Cuba in a whole year. The cost is political, actually.
Well, during the early part of his administration, President Obama did begin to ease some restrictions on Cuba. Where does that initiative stand now? And if the embargo were lifted, would there be a backlash?
Not much of a backlash, actually. I think nothing much has been done since the beginning of the administration, when restrictions on travel were softened. Now things stand at the same level that they were a year ago, and I don't think they're going to change much before the midterm election in the United States.
And after the midterm elections, you think there's a likelihood that it could be lifted?
Yeah, I think the embargo will be lifted within the Obama administration's in power, right? Within the next 3 years. Again, it's not likely to make much of a change. The opportunities for business in Cuba for the American companies are limited. Spaniards are investing there already. So I think the economy, Cuban economy has a certain capacity for investment that it has reached.
Professor Moya, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.